Welcome, everyone. We are here today to discuss our end of the year school agenda. We're going to start with discussing our team norms, which we know we will come prepared with data and materials to actively participate, ask questions, and remember what is in our circle of control to frame team decisions. We will maintain confidentiality, and remain respectful at all times. We will make decisions by consensus. When the will of the group emerges, we agree to abide by it, contribute to it, and gather data to make improvements or alterations as necessary. We will say squirrel when off tasks to regroup. Today, Melissa's our recorder, Monica's our timekeeper. I am our agenda creator, and Jacqueline cannot be here, unfortunately, today, but she is our data director. So the agenda overview, we're going to go over our welcome, celebrations, end of the year faculty meeting. We're going to discuss technology, grades. We'll get back with Jacqueline when she can, and we'll do at the end of the year special education closeout. And then we'll also discuss any other pertinent information that we need to do. So we'll start with the end of the year faculty meeting. So I've done a little skeleton outline of what will be going on with that. I'll let Monica show it. Monica, go to share with me.
Do what?
Go to share it with me. Back to your drive. Go to share with me.
Excuse me.
You're okay. End of the year faculty meeting agenda. Top one. There we go. All right. So the end of the year faculty meeting, basically, we want all teachers to be present on time. We want them to be there for 8 o'clock. That will be on on the last day that teachers are required to be on campus. PTO is providing breakfast. We will start with a welcome and with remarks. We'll overview, go over the meeting objective, highlight the highlights of the academic year. And when we highlight the academic year, it won't just be like, it will not just be test scores, things like that. I want to highlight things that the field trips that the kids went on, the art awards, the GT performance. We scored high on GT, UIL, things of that sort. We will review academic achievement and challenges, and reflect on the curriculum. And I also want to reflect on PLC and make sure that that is going well, or is there changes that we can do. I've sent out a survey and a feedback sheet to team leaders to kind of collect some data in regards to that from the teachers. We'll share some best practices, ideas, and areas for improvement that will come from the feedback and from the surveys. We'll go over professional development. We need to remind them that they need to sign up for their GT because they have to do that, the 30 hours of GT. They need to do their grade expectations. If they are year 2, then they have to do that full 5 days of grade expectation. We want to remain a model school. Year 3. Now, if they are year 3, we have to make sure they know this. They cannot sign up for grade expectations year 3. We will not cover those expenses. If they want year 3 of grade expectations, they will have to cover that cost on their own. We're not covering that expense. Also, we need to talk to them about ensuring that they schedule their professional development to cover their exchange days, the 3 exchange days that they get. If they do not do those this summer, they will not get those exchange days during the school year. We're also going to get some feedback and suggestions about professional development that we can provide on campus. I know that Smith talked about providing some support and strategies for ELLs because we are struggling in an area, and that's a pop group area. I've had some teachers mention that they wanted some professional development in regards to enrichment. So we will try to gather those professional developments. And those are things that we can do campus-based. We don't have to have them off, do it on campus, and we can have our specialists train our teachers on some of those skills. Then we're going to plan for some upcoming school year. We're going to introduce the new team leaders for next year. I also have the books in for the book study. So we will provide the team leaders with that book, and we want to encourage the team leaders to go ahead and try to read that book over the summer so they can lead and guide their book study meetings with their team. Yes, we already know when we come back to school. So we have that date. So we will give that date to them. We also know our open house date already and our orientation date. And orientation is for our kinder babies. And so they'll have a parent orientation for the kinder babies, and only the kinder teachers are required to attend. Budget, we're still working on the budget. I'm also actually going to take that out because we're still working on the budget. They actually haven't given me my full budget for next year. So we're still working on that. And then I will have an open forum in regards to questions, feedback, any concerns they may have, any questions about that end of the year checklist. Also, remember, they are not allowed to check out until 1 o'clock. That's the earliest that they can check out that day. Then we are going to do some awards. So we're going to give away some awards to some service awards, and I also have some awards for teachers that are leaving, some farewell awards, and that's about it for the balcony meeting.
Perfect.
Yeah, and breakfast is provided by PTO, and we are beginning at 8 a.m. All right,
Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to move on to our technology and what the expectation is with that to wrap up our school year. So it is officially the last week of school. I know we're all super busy and wanting to get these papers signed. I also have with me the pink paper that all of you will have in your boxes. It also has a summary of which admin and who you need to go to for getting this all checked off before you leave on the very last day. Every box needs to have a signature for the most part. If it doesn't, then it's already grayed. So you're aware that there's no signature necessary for that. So focusing on technology, we are all given a class set of Chromebooks, chargers, and a charging tower. You two are also given your own personal laptop. It's very important that the laptop goes home with you on the last day of school. You're not turning it in unless you're not returning to the district. If you are not returning to the district, HR has already reached out to you and given you an address on to where and what date and time you are to drop off all district equipment. With that, it is imperative that you document the Chromebook numbers and cart number to make sure all of them are in order and they all match. They're all being charged at the same time, and then it's locked up prior to you asking for your signatures on your hot pink paper.
So, Monica, are they leaving their Chromebook carts in their classroom?
Yes, an AP will come around and pick them up at some point during the summer, and they're going to rearrange the schedule and the list of who has what Chromebooks and what number Chromebooks.
And they are to take their district issue Chromebook home.
Correct. Every teacher, every staff member was given a Chromebook at the beginning of the year, or really at their onboarding. And so that is your computer for the stay of the district.
Okay. And nobody is turning in a personal issue laptop unless they are leaving the district and the district has already contacted them.
That's correct.
Okay, great.
Yes. The district will disable all email and all district like ID badges and everything 2 weeks after your last contract day. So that's the last day of school. 2 weeks of business after that day. Your ID badge, your email, everything will be shut down. So make sure that whatever you're keeping from your drives and all that things, you backed it up in another way.
Okay. What if they saved their information like on their desktop? Will they lose that? Will they lose those files?
No, they won't, because you're going to take your computer with you. So they're not going to push any updates. The only thing that we are pushing through, the district has decided to push through to delete the last 10 years of emails.
Okay.
So I know that a lot of teachers will like put things in a starred folder, like to remember where this certain document is or whatever. But we don't typically, I don't see many people deleting emails. So they have over 20,000 emails. To reduce the slowdown of the internet, we're going to remove 10 years of those emails.
But we are, I'm sorry, we are encouraging the use of Google Drive.
Yes, keep your Google Drive occupied. I would move everything to its own hard drive personally that detaches from the Chromebook. That way you drop it, it gets stolen, it crashes, whichever, you're protected with your documents for the returning school year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
You have on about Canva. How do they save that information to Canva? Will they still be able to access their district Canva account when they're during the summer?
Yes, you have the ability of accessing all district items, your Canva, your Eduphoria, all of that thing. We have what's called a class link, and it has all of our apps. And you're welcome to use them at home on your home device, like on your internet, things of that nature. For Canva, I would highly suggest archiving your things and again, backing it all up on another drive.
Okay. Um, okay, and then pink paper, they're going to be getting that soon, putting it in their
Yes.
boxes, and that's their checklist of everything they need to do in regards to their technology.
That's correct. For their individualized classrooms, they need to make sure that their True Touch and all their document cameras are turned off, shut down all the way and unplugged from any outlets.
Mhm.
We need to make sure that our Chromebook and carts are inventoried, along with our furniture. We need to make sure that there's 30 seats in every classroom, whether that's we have some wobble stools, fidget chairs, those things, those count to those 30 count of desk assignments.
Okay, and this year we also need to remember to tell them to put their classroom number on the back of their smart board, so we make sure that smart boards go back into the classroom that they came out of when they start cleaning and rearranging things.
Correct. All their remotes, anything of that nature, need to be in a Ziploc bag that velcros to the backside of the smart board.
And will you be the one actually signing off on their form?
Yes, I'm signing off on all Chromebook carts and all classroom furniture, smart boards, things of that nature. So they'll have to find me before they can go home to make sure we've marked all of our boxes off.
Okay.
And what about the red cats? Are they turning those into you, or are they keeping those in their classroom?
They're going to keep them. They were provided a key at the beginning of the year to lock them up. So again, like those kind of things, they need to be locked. Any personal things, I know a couple teachers have really like lamps and clocks and like countertops things. All of those need to be put in drawers. The counters have to be cleared.
Do they have to turn in their smart login for their smart board, or do they just keep it that also go in a Ziploc bag and in the back of their smart board?
That'll be written down in their Ziploc bag.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Guess we're going to move on to the next item on our agenda.
Okay.
That would be
All right.
me.
Grades. Yay.
So we are going over our end of year grading procedures and guidelines. So I know we discussed at the beginning of the year, our CIP goals of really increasing teacher and stakeholder communication and continuous professional development. And so our campus's plan for our end of the academic year's grading policy is as follows. So we did receive some feedback from our teachers from last year and our other reporting periods from this academic year. The feedback we got were the instructions were unclear. Teachers were confused in general about the process and they needed more PD on Skyward. Some feedback we got from stakeholders, and specific parents. Teachers were not communicating about grades in a reasonable amount of time. There were not enough transparency or not enough transparency about summer school and information before registration, and not enough information in general, or they just weren't getting it. The district's feedback to campuses were errors in report cards or grade discrepancies, and the stakeholders, of course, our parents, were getting frustrated. So in order to kind of solve those problems before they happen, this process, first, we need a grade verification and deadlines, and this is all prior to the faculty meeting to make sure that the deadlines are met. So I'm going to be communicating via email and our campus newsletter with reminders about our grading and report card deadline and our parent contact logs that our teachers need to turn in. Also, I need to communicate to or about district and our campus's grading policy. Teachers need to have at least 2 formative grades a week and 3 tests or summative grades or projects per grading period. It needs to be emphasized about the importance of accuracy in final grade calculations. I also need to make sure we as admin need to direct the staff to clear out any placeholder zeros or missing assignments that were used during the term. I also need to communicate the district's policy of grade rounding because that didn't happen before. So for example, if the grade is a 69, that needs to be rounded up to a 70 or else it causes a grade anomaly in the report. So ultimately, it's about communicating to teachers about the Skyward grade anomaly error reports. That was some of the feedback. They didn't know what that meant. So that process is blank grades in the grade book, missing grades, zeros, non-rounded averages, transfer grades, and missing grade change forms is really what happens. Teachers will be given a printout this time on paper with error notes by our PEIMS secretary and given a deadline to make changes. So instead of sending emails and going back and forth, they're just going to be given a printout.
So when they given a printout by Doris, then they're gonna have to sign on it to say that they've seen it and all of that, correct?
Right. They take
Okay.
it with them and then they give it back to our PEIMS secretary with the changes made and it's checked a second time.
Okay, so with the failing grades, so failure for the year, we have a verification sheet and a conversation in regards to how many times do we reach out to the parent to let the parent know that where we were at, we were asking for help, asking for support, all those things.
That's correct.
Okay.
So with that being said, and you saying that the teachers didn't know some of this or whatever, maybe we need to do, you have it down there, a professional development, a training on
Right.
Skyward at the beginning of the year.
Exactly.
And also we need to remind teachers that they need to be doing, Monica just said that, a communication log showing that they
Right.
are reaching out to these parents and everything.
And
Okay.
that is due every reporting period. And it is, of course, due at the end of this reporting period. And there is a deadline for that. That needs to be done and turned in. And it's especially important because some of these students will be going to summer school.
Okay, so teachers should have known throughout the school year, every 9 weeks, they need to be turning in their call log on whether it's email, call, whichever, on these kids that are on the edge of failing.
That is correct.
That's the expectation. Okay.
That is the expectation. So the gradebook closeout, we're going to be discussing the date for locked Chromebooks. That means the grades can no longer be changed in Skyward after the final grades are submitted. We're going to be addressing any last minute changes, and those are going to be made via the grade change form and what those procedures are. Because those are made via Skyward, but those are made through our PEIMS secretary and not paper. The miscommunication was that it's done on paper. That was the old way and is now done electronically. So the last thing is sending final grades to district for processing and a list of student failures to district for summer school registration and making sure that we make that deadline to make sure that they have the numbers.
Okay. Are you putting attendance with grade verification, or are we kind of doing them a little bit separate?
That is a separate report.
Okay.
That comes from our attendance secretary.
Okay.
But attendance does play into summer school.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. But good question. So for the student and parent communication, again, we need to be discussing and communicating with teachers the need to remind students how to use their student portal to check final grades. Report cards are not printed. Some students and parents expect them to be printed, but they're electronic, and the parents have a portal that they can check student grades, and the students have a portal. There'll be no report cards printed.
Okay, maybe we'll, in that final parent communication newsletter, we'll put in there the instructions how to do home access center again for parents.
I think that would be great. Because the district is doing away with paper. The feedback we got from parents in the last 2-3 years, the students aren't bringing the report cards home, and parents aren't checking their mail, or we have our highly mobile families and they never receive the mail because they have a change of address. So this is the best way to ensure that parents are seeing their students' grades. The parent communication logs are going to be done via spreadsheet like they've been done all year long.
Mhm.
And the procedures are to communicate and make sure that the parents understand about the student failure process, including summer school registration, and we will be sending teachers information about that via email.
So this is a live document, correct? And so, what I'm thinking is that maybe, it's another thing on our plate, but hey, we need to do this to ensure that students are succeeding and that these parents are receiving the communication they need. But like, grade level APs need to be checking this to make sure that that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing in regards to this parent communication loss, because we all know we always get to the end and we have a parent that says, I have not been contacted, I haven't this, I haven't that. And this way we can start doing some contacting if we need to as well.
Just a
Right.
side note, we are 20 minutes in.
Okay.
Okay. And the APs are supposed to be checking that, but that needs to be done with Fidelity. Professional development training needs. So the areas where staff may need additional training is the Skyward transfer grade process, clearing out missing assignments and zeros, basically fixing errors. A few students that have special cases and grade change forms. So I'm assigning instructional coaches, Skyward training, department coordinators, disseminating information about parent contact logs, summer school information, and monitoring department staff to ensure teachers are meeting deadlines. But I'm also, per y'all's feedback, putting APs on parent contact logs to make sure those are being done with Fidelity and checking those. And a click sheet for transfer grades and grade change forms.
Excellent. I like this one-stop shop. I think this is going to be helpful. And I think it's going to be helpful to reiterate the expectation was that you should have been documenting every time you were contacting parents, not only with behavior, but with grades and kind of how that student is doing.
I agree.
Exactly. And during that professional development training, I think all teachers need to attend it, no matter if, they say they know or whatever, they need to attend, but also during that time, we can get with the PEAMS coordinator and have her print them out dates. This is the progress report dates. This is the end of the 9 weeks dates. So they can have that hard copy. We can also send it to them as well. So they can have all that information. So there's no excuses that they're doing everything on time. They've had the training that they need. They have the support that they need, the resources. So we're not having all of these issues coming up again next year.
And
Right.
that is released to the teachers every 9 weeks.
Yeah.
However, the
Still some
deadlines
issues.
deadlines are being missed. So they need some checks and balances to make sure those deadlines are being met.
Yeah. Okay. So we do have EOY grade procedures on their checklist as well, right?
Yes.
So everything in Skyward has to be done before you sign off on it.
Right.
And so you will be double checking that and all that to make sure that that is done. Okay.
Right. I will be that person on the sign out sheet.
Okay. Okay. So I see on here you have the instructional coaches and the new teachers and staff. Do you think our grade level APs need to attend this training as well? So they can provide the support that is needed, so they can be knowledgeable of how to utilize Skyward too?
If they are available, that would be great. We're going to be doing it during their regular conference periods,
Okay.
so that it's not done after school, so that the teachers will attend.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I think next thing on our agenda was special education checkout and end of the year procedures for that.
Mhm.
Jacqueline could not make it, but I do know that she mentioned that the teachers need to make sure that their special education documentation is up to date.
Uh-huh.
That's another live document that they should be completing
Yes.
every 9 weeks. The special ed coordinator said that he has been checking it, and there's several teachers who have not completed it. And the grade level APs will need to address those teachers to make sure that they're completing that because that is a district requirement. She also mentioned that if they have any special education documents in their classroom, IEPs, any accommodation sheets, modifications, anything like that, with student information on it, it has to be shredded.
Mhm.
We cannot throw that in the trash. We have to shred that. So they have to bring that documentation to the special ed coordinator and he will shred it, or they can bring it to Maya, the RTI coordinator, and she can do it too. Oh, that also reminds me, they need to update all their RTI and close out that RTI information in Frontline. They don't know how to do that. There's the specialists will sit down with them. The math specialist, the reading specialist is going to sit down with them and give them details on how to close that out because we have to close it and archive it. I can't
Is
think.
the for those special education teachers, are they going to have like an extra spot on the sign out form to ensure that that's done?
Yes. So Jacqueline said that she will be putting a spot on that form to ensure that that is done. And that, so she will be checking for those accommodation logs. She's going to be checking for any additional accommodations or modification documentation that the teachers have. She's also going to be checking the document because she said she provided them with documentation at the beginning of the year. So she know they should be bringing her something to shred. So if they don't, it's gonna kind of look kind of funny, because
Yep.
she provided them, she printed out IEPs for them and everything, and they have that documentation. And then she also prints them out or meeting invites and things of that sort. So all of that it needs to be shredded because that has students' personal information on it, and that is we can't have that out anywhere. We have to shred that.
Yeah, because last year the custodial staff, when they were moving furniture, when the teachers were moving rooms, they found a lot of confidential information. And last year we had a lot of teachers in non-compliance without closing out. And
Yeah,
and
without closing out, exactly. And that's a ding on us. And so we have to make sure. And we are the second to last signatures. Tammy is the last one.
Mhm.
So, and they also have to go see Cindy because they have to turn in their walkie-talkie. They have to turn in, if they're leaving the district, they have to turn in their badge. She's collecting communication logs as well. So she is the third to last to see. So she's already been instructed. Tammy says she's already instructed her to turn people away. If they try to bring her anything, turn them away. And the same thing with us, when they try to bring us things to sign off on, we said turn them away. You have not seen this person. You haven't seen this person. And we have to turn away. We should be the last point of contacts because your grades cannot be updated if you have not updated your special education logs or if you haven't updated your tiers. So your tier 2 and tier 3, because we need to dismiss those kids that no longer need those services.
Mhm.
And so all of that needs to be collected. Also we need to not the specialists. I can't even think of PE teacher and all of them. What they call in there? Why did their name
Our
went?
athletic department.
The athletic department. So the PE teacher, the music teacher, the art teacher. What's that name?
Is
Their
that about
name
like
is
specials?
Electives.
electives. There we go. Specials teachers, our elective teachers. They're basically done with everything. They don't have as much to do as teachers. So we can utilize them to do some room checks too. So
Yeah.
we can utilize them to do some room checks and to help and all that stuff. Oh, and don't forget, last year we had, why do I keep going in and out with this camera? They were custodial staff was complaining about staples. So we have to make sure they got all the staples off the wall and off the floor.
Yes, that was another thing I wanted to add in regards to technology is that you need to make sure teachers need to make sure that their rooms are completely cleared. Again, countertops need to be cleared, rugs need to be rolled up and put in cabinets or taken home for summer and cleaned or put in a storage closet. Everything off of the walls. It should look like an empty school building with desks stacked. when it's time to go.
Monica, are you having them, I know they have one cabinet in their room that they can lock. Are you having them zip tie the cabinet again that has all of the instructional materials and resources in?
They're welcome to do that. I am not really concerned with people going through other people's cabinets. If that's a concern they personally have, they're welcome to do so. And inventory their own personal items. That's fine with me. Along with their department closets, those need to be cleaned up and organized. Any food like for labs or whichever, all of that needs to find the garbage and be discarded.
Oh yeah, we need to send a
I,
reminder out about the lounge, the teacher's lounge.
All
That
the
stuff
refrigerators, yes.
it's gonna be
I,
thrown away. If it's not taken home by Thursday, it's gonna be thrown away.
I think we can also use our electives, our special department to do the room checks and to be checking rooms and to also check technology
Mhm.
because you are one person and to kind of to send them back and say do it again. They can have a list of people who have done it and who are ready for you to sign and a list of people who are still working on it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's brilliant. Whether it's dividing the whole campus staff up by however many we have divided by 4, and then we're all assigned to certain classroom numbers too, to make sure that those rooms are specifically cleared or whatever, signing off on that, and then getting all these documents back, and then I can do a list of everybody.
Yeah.
Also, so the room's cleared. I just thought about this. Do we want to do the move-in teams again this year that we did last year, where we do the teams and they go help people move? Because we got some people that are moving that are leaving, and some people that are moving rooms. So we have the moving teams, and we can give some incentives, and they go and they help that teacher move their things to the new room, and then that way. And last year, I think it took us like an hour and a half to get everybody moved and everything taken care of. And I know like 3 teachers asked me about that, and I said I was going to talk to you guys and see if that was a good idea, or we just want to make sure everybody individually move their things.
Is
We
it
just have
possible to
to,
have students help with that?
ooh,
No.
No?
yeah, for
We can't,
safety.
yeah, we can't,
Yeah.
we can't have, that's legal. We can't have students helping. And that's why I think the moving teams were great because, we divided it up. So you had somebody from each grade level on a
Mhm.
team but that teacher has to have all their things packed up and ready to go.
Right. Okay.
And
Now,
so they just go in there, get everything. And that will also give us more time because we're not legally allowed to let them go before 1 o'clock. So they're
Right.
not just sitting around waiting on us.
Correct. Okay.
now, playing devil's advocate,
Uh-huh.
they need to be spending time on their parent communication logs. And speaking about the moving teams, some of the feedback where people felt obligated
Okay.
to be moving people and they didn't
Gotcha.
want to. So
Gotcha.
it needs to be reiterated that it's on a volunteer basis. You
Okay.
do not
And if you're
have
available.
to.
Okay.
And if you're available, because some people felt pressured into doing something that they did not want to do, or they had injuries and
Mhm.
they hurt themselves, and now we're into a safety problem
Okay.
and we're
Understandable. Yeah. Yeah. Understandable. Yeah. And I know last year, one of our friends was not ready and the moving team was not happy and they ended up putting her things outside. And so we will have a stage in
Oh
place.
my.
Yeah. They put it outside and it took her like 3 truckloads to get everything out. And I did think that that was wrong. And so I kind of thought that, if we do the moving teams, then we do need to have a holding area because
Right.
think about it, we got a teacher that's leaving this year and she's transferring to another school. She's been at this school for 16 years. So she has things.
Mhm.
And that is another reason why, Tammy has been encouraging them to take things home. Start taking things home this week, long as there's no kids in your classroom, because we
Mhm.
don't want them to know that everything is over with, but you can start taking things home because some people have things, a lot of things in their classroom.
especially like personal items, like
Mhm.
I take them home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start taking that home. Or if you're staying in your classroom, you can start putting that away.
Right. Putting in your cabinets
Yeah,
and
you
stuff.
start putting in your cabinets and stuff and start putting it away. And we know some of the teachers, they will be slow to move, but we could kind of pump them up and be their little cheerleaders and get it done. But I do want us to be present and active and supportive. We all
Right.
need that support. We need the support of each other.
And in
I
closing
agree.
note that we are not providing moving boxes.
No, we're not providing moving boxes. I had somebody ask me that the other day and I was like, no.
We
Yes,
have less than 1 minute.
Okay. You
I
hold
got
on
an
to
email
it.
about that.
Okay. Yeah. No, we're not providing moving boxes. No, we do not have a dolly. We do not have a wagon for you. We have some carts that you may utilize, but no moving boxes.
I
That's
can
funny.
direct you to UPS.
Yes. You can go buy
That's
some from
funny.
Amazon or Walmart. Yes. Okay. So we're going to timekeeper. How much? What do we have left?
We have less than 1 minute, about 35 seconds.
All righty. We're gonna stop right here and then we'll do a quick recap in just a moment, okay?
Okay.
Monica, stop us. Okay, how many more minutes do we need to record? You're still recording us, but
Oh, I have to.
I can.
I gotta.
No,
hang
no,
up.
you're. Oh, that's right. That's right. No, and I can edit it anyway. So how many